All right, good morning, good afternoon. 1.7, computing with scientific notation. Computing, all this means is today we're going to be able to add and subtract numbers that are written in scientific notation. The first thing we need to do in order to add or subtract numbers, they must be in like terms, meaning the powers of 10 must be the same. So our first example here, if I look here, and I'll go back to that slide in just a second. If I look here, I have a 4 as an exponent and as a 5 as an exponent. So they are not the same, so I need to make them the same. So you need to first convert numbers with larger exponents to the same degree as the lesser exponent. So what that means is the larger one, so this one here, I want to make it a 4. And I can do that. I can change this number, but if I change this number, I will have to change this number. And what I like to do again is it's kind of like a scale. If I make this one smaller, this number smaller, I've got to make this number bigger. So I want to make this 10 to the 4th, right? And 5 becomes 4, that's making it smaller. So I need to make this one bigger. So this number is going to be, this decimal is going to be moved one place to the right because now it's going to be 92.4. 9.24 becomes 92.4. It became bigger because this number became smaller. Now these parentheses mean that, write this, I'm adding this number plus this number. So now I have almost like terms, or that 10 to the 4th. They are the same. So I converted them, and then you're just going to add or subtract the decimals. So I have to go in 6.89, do a little work over here, 6.89 and 92.4. Remember that you have to line up those decimals. If I don't have a number here, I just put a 0 there. If I'm going to add them, and again, you can use a calculator to do this, so that we can double check or make sure that we get the correct answer. If you just want to do 9, 0, 12, remember to bring down that decimal, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So here's my answer, 98.29. Now this is important. This is going to be times 10 to the 4th power. Now this is like terms, so I do not add these two exponents. That's a big thing to remember. Do not add them. I'm actually kind of just rearranging this, so these two numbers are being added, and then it's going to be multiplied by 10 to the 4th power. It's in a sense the reverse of the distributive property. But just remember right now, you do not add those exponents. So this is my answer, but if I look my third, write your final answer in scientific notation. This is not in scientific notation, because remember, my decimal has to have only one number to the left of it, and there's two numbers here. So I need to move this to here to make this 9.829. Remember not to change any of those numbers. Now, if I made this number smaller, what do I do to this one? I make it bigger. So I moved this one place to the left, so I add 1 to my 4, making it 5. There. That is my final answer. Okay, so your next one here, you want to make sure, so now this number is my only one in scientific notation. Because we're working in scientific notation, I'm going to change this one to scientific notation. If I really wanted to, I could change this to standard form, but it would be a lot more zeros to deal with. And again, to check your answer, you could do that. You could change this to standard form and then subtract this 11,610,000. But I'm going to change this, and to get my total points correct on, say, a test or a quiz, I'm going to require you to change this to scientific notation. Okay, so again, my decimal is invisible right now, and it's right here. And I want it to move all the way to here. So this would be 1.161, and I would be moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So times 10 Remember, this number is getting smaller, so this is getting bigger. Now, if I see I don't have that 8 and 7 are not the same, so I actually want to make this an 8, so it's going to go one more to the left. So that it's to the times 8, and this will have to go, and I should have saw that right away, but I was just a little quick, and that's okay. So my number is decimal point 1161 times 10 to the 8th. Now I need to subtract 7.83 minus this number, and remember, you do not subtract these two exponents. So 7.83 minus 1161. Again, you can use a calculator to double check your answer. If we are not strong with subtracting decimals, that's okay. Use a calculator to double check your answer, which I should be doing anyway. So here's my answer, 7.7139. 7.71.
Mr. Carey, if you're in the building, can you please call extension 3003? Thank you.
Okay, and I can't forget times 10 to the 8th power. Remember, do not do anything with these, just bring them down. Bring it down and it's right there. Okay, I'm going to show a few more examples, but it's going to be on my slides. Okay, so first here, we first have to look that this 3 and this 4 are not the same. So I want to make the bigger one the smaller one. So 4, I need to subtract 1 here. Again, if I subtract 1 here, I need to make this number bigger. If I make this one smaller, I make this one bigger. So I'm going to move my decimal place to the right. So it becomes 97.1. So now I have the same times exponents on 10, and now I just have to add the 8.41 and the 97.1. So if I add those two together, I get 105. 105.51. So here's my decimal place right here. Let's use a different color. Okay, so here is my decimal place, and I have times 10 to the 3rd power. But again, I need to make sure that my final answer is written in scientific notation. So I need to move it 2 places so that it's 1.0551. Well, if I make this number smaller, I have to make this number bigger by 2. So the 3, I add the 2 to it, and it becomes the 5. So this is my final answer written in scientific notation. Remembering that I made this number smaller, so I have to make this number bigger, so I have to add it to it. Okay, other one over here, 9 and 7, they are not the same, so I need to make the 9, I have to subtract 2 here to make it 7. So it's 10 to the 7th, 10 to the 7th. Well, if I make this one smaller, I have to make this one bigger by moving it to the right. So 1.263 becomes 126.3. Now I have a subtraction sign here, so I'm going to subtract my 126.3 minus my 1.525. That number becomes 124.775. Now, times 10 to the 7th power, remembering we're not doing anything with adding or subtracting these two exponents. Okay, that just becomes my times 10 to the 7th power. Now, my answer here is not written in scientific notation, so my decimal is here, and I need to move it to here. So I need to make this number smaller by 2 place values. So I need to add 2 to this 7. So it becomes 1.24775 times 10 to the 9th power. Okay, evaluate each expression. So here we don't have both of them. We have to actually go an extra step, and we don't have both of them in scientific notation. So what we have to do is we have to put them, oh, I knew I had it somewhere. Sorry guys. I thought I couldn't find it, but I did find it. Okay, here. So right here we don't have both of them in scientific notation, but if you see here, we first put them into both scientific notation. So we're going to do that. So here my decimal is invisible and it's right here. and I need to move it to right here. So 5.93, and it's going to be times 10. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I made this number smaller, so I make this number bigger. Okay, and I'm going to add it to 7.89 times 10 to the 6th. Again, you could probably combine these two steps. I actually want this to become the same, but I do like to make the 6, or the bigger one, the smaller one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 7 point, and I need to make this, I need to subtract 1 here. So if I make this smaller, I need to make this number bigger. Remember, it's that scale. So this one is going to go here. So it's going to be 78.9 times 10 to the 5th. And I'm going to add that to 5.93 times 10 to the 5th. Forgetting. Okay. Then I'm going to add these two numbers. So 78.9 plus 5.93. 9, 6, 14, 8. I'm going to double check my math. 84.83. Now, this would be 84.83 times 10 to the 5th power. Remember, these come down here. But my answer is not in scientific notation, so I need to get my decimal from here to here. So 84.83 becomes 8.483. This number became smaller from 84 to 8, so this one has to get bigger. So, and I only moved it 1 decimal place, so it's going to be 10 to the 6th power. Okay, and then our last one that we're going to do here. Again, these two are not in the same, so I need to make them the same. So this number here is my invisible decimal. I need to get it to 2.7. So times, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, I only want to get it to 10. So, or I'm sorry, I only want to get it to 5 here. I want this to be to the 5th power. So I could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I see, my decimal will be right after that 27. And I'm going to add it to 6.3 times 10 to the 5th. Sorry, I'm getting a little... my exponents are the same. So 27 plus 6.3. Again, this is just 33.3. 33.3 times 10 to the 5th power. This is not in scientific notation. I need to move my decimal from here to here to make this 3.33. 33 becomes 3. That's going to mean that this is going to become smaller by 1 decimal place, right? So this has to be, I have to add 1 to the 5. So times 10 to the 6th power. Final answer. Okay. Their assignment, page 63, numbers 8 through 11 and 20 through 22.